welcome to the Ditch the Struggle podcast. I'm your host, Alana Rosso. I'm a graphic designer turned career and success coach who knew I could do better, but kept falling short of where I wanted to go. But after years of exploring personal and career development, business, money mindset, and energy work, I'm here to tell you that yes, you can move from stuck and defeated to empowered and confident. Ready to dive in? Awesome. Together, let's ditch the struggle. Hi everyone, welcome to Ditch the Struggle, and today I'm diving into career coaching and a career coaching conundrum that I get asked about all the time. It's actually so common. I was shocked, and I think other people will be shocked that this is a common issue and challenge, and I want to help people walk through this challenge if it comes up for them. So what do you do when you are in the interview job process and you're interviewing with a whole bunch of different companies, and then you get a job offer? So you get an offer from a company, but it's not one that you really want. But you're under pressure to get a job, as I say, and to create income and to get back in the workforce. And obviously we all have financial responsibilities. So what do you do when you are presented with an offer, but you are still hoping that the other jobs work out? So what I get asked a lot about when I'm career coaching is it okay to take the offer and then continue in the job interview process? Like, is that okay? Because it feels like deceitful. They don't feel good about it. They're stressed about it. Because what happens if so they take option A, and what happens if option B or C or D comes up with an offer and they really want to work there? Like, what do you do? Okay, so back to this thing that it is actually really common. I need to stress this because I was shocked at how often this kind of came up. And here's the thing. We often feel we have to, or it is in our best interest to take the job that is in front of us right away because there is a pressure to get back into that workforce. And that is okay. It is also okay to continue the job interview process with the other companies. And I know a lot of people feel uncomfortable about that, but I always ask the exact same question to start to clients that I'm working through this with. And that is, what is in your best interest? What is in your best interest? Is it in your best interest to take this job and then see what happens with the others and have that kind of safe job under your belt? Does that make you feel good? Does that add to the financial relief that you need? Is that what's in the best interest of you and your family, your household? And if so, then go forward with that decision. What I'm always trying to do is help people understand that they need to put their needs first, not the companies. You want to be loyal to yourself and your family, not to the company. Yes, you want to be committed to your job and show up fully, 100%. But if the tables were turned, and I have seen this happen, where a company hires someone and then a few weeks later or a month later, they do layoffs, like that person loses their job. That company is not worrying and stressing and feeling bad about it. They are not. They are a company. They are not a person. They're not a human with feelings. They are a collective organization. They are a company. They are putting their needs first. And I'm going to share a story about one particular client because it was really interesting. We'll just call her Jane. She was really trying to get a job in the academic world. Like that was her passion. In the meantime, she was interviewing at a whole bunch of different places and she was under pressure to get a job kind of soon. Okay, her severance wasn't very big from her last company that she left, that she had to leave from. And there was a timeline and a time constriction. And when I'm working with someone who has to get a job like soon, it's a very different plan and a different strategy. And we have to be a little bit more aggressive. And you can be selective and discerning to a certain extent. However, sometimes there is just that feeling of, I have to get a paycheck back into the household, right? So through a friend, she landed a job interview at a very, very big company. And she initially said, I am not going to interview at this company. I can't morally do it. So she wasn't on board with a lot of how this company operates. I totally understood. But she did decide that she wanted to go forward with the interview for the practice because she hadn't been on a job interview in a few years. And I actually do highly recommend this. And if anyone feels bad about going to an interview with when they have no intention of taking the job, well, I will tell you this because I've worked with HR people and recruiters from the back end. Sometimes HR people in training take people into interviews that they have no intention of hiring just because they want the practice to be like better at their job. So sometimes they're using applicants. So if you feel like you just want to take a job interview for the experience, I personally say go for it. Also, you just don't know what you're walking into. And I talk about this when I went into my government job in 2017. I assumed it was going to be one thing. I didn't really think I was going to be interested in the job, and then I really was. So in this case, Jane goes to the first interview, and it actually went better than she thought, and she was now starting to be slightly interested in this company. And I have absolutely zero judgment when it comes to whether someone should or shouldn't work for a company. That A, is not my decision to make, but also I totally appreciate that people need to have a job and an income. And sometimes people make compromises, and sometimes that's a moral compromise. And I really understand it. And I think we've all been there in some way, shape, or form. When I worked in the cosmetic industry, I mean, they were creating products that were chemical shitstorms. They were just not in any way, shape, or form probably good for the body. But, I was a part of that machine. So I take responsibility for that. So anyways, Jane goes to the interview, goes better, and decides to go forward with the second interview. And then eventually the offer comes along that she has been given. She's been given a job offer. And she decides that she's going to take it, but she's secretly, well, not so secretly to me, hoping for this other job that she had applied to. Well, she had applied to a few, but one particular one in the academic world. Now, she had lost all faith and hope of getting that job because that organization had declared a hiring freeze. So she's like, I don't have anything else on the table right now. I feel like I have to take this job or it's in my best interest. So here's a quick little reframe. Telling yourself that you have to take something is going to bring resentment up. It is going to make you feel like you don't have a choice. Instead, just look at it as this is the best choice I have in front of me and I'm going to go for it. This is what's in my best interest with what I have right now. That's a much healthier mindset. So she decides to take the job, and then she literally she signs a contract. She hasn't started the job and gets a call from the academic role, like her dream job. Now, I was shocked too because I had heard there was a hiring freeze, and she's like, what do I do? I was like, well, back to that question, what's in your best interest, Jane? And she really decided that she wanted to go forward for the interview. So she's accepted the job at like this one company. She's going forward with the interviews at the academic place, starts the job and gets a second interview, and then eventually gets the offer from the academic job. So this was really surprising for just that, like they made a public declaration that they were doing a hiring freeze. So, and yet they went and hired her. So this also leads me to believe that you don't have to or don't necessarily have to believe what you're being told about hiring freezes. Like it's sometimes true, and I think sometimes it's not. Well, in this case, it was totally not true. They hired her, even though they publicly declared a hiring freeze. So that was interesting. So 12 days into starting her new role, so she started it. She's not even been there 2 weeks, resigned because she got her dream job, which is so exciting to hear when someone is like trying to get into an industry. Like nothing makes me more happy than when I hear someone gets a job that they really want. Like that just is like fuel to my fire. That just like makes my day. But she felt so bad about having to quit and resign so quickly. She's like, how is this going to look And then also her friend had recommended her, or kind of like helped her get her foot in the door. How's that going to look to my friend? And here's the thing. Sometimes we have to let people down, let companies down, organizations down. We don't want to do it, but it's in our best interest. It is what is in our best interest for our career and our life. Now, if you were doing this 10 times in a row, that could not look great, and you might not get a great reputation. Somehow that might spread. However, it just happens sometimes. And that's the thing. I can't tell you how many times I talk to a client. They take a job just because it's really the best option they have in front of them, but they are still interviewing with sometimes multiple companies, hoping that one of those will work out. So often I am helping them figure out the verbiage and the wording to use so that they can leave the job and kind of exit gracefully. And it really is just a matter of simply saying, I'm so grateful for this opportunity to start at this job and this position in this company. However, surprisingly, I have received another job offer, and it is something that I've always wanted to do in my career, and I feel really compelled to take it. You don't have to over-explain it, but you get to decide what you want to do with your career. And worrying about what that company is going to think about you, well, I'm telling you, 5 minutes after you've left, they're not going to be thinking about you. And the other thing to remember is that they have candidates in backup. So they've interviewed multiple people. So often they will, if the first person says no, they will go to the second and potentially the third candidate. So there probably are other people that they want to hire. And they also plan this into their hiring process, that people will sometimes come and go and they won't work out. There's always that potential, what do they call it? Like the 3-month probation. I can't believe they use the word probation. I don't know if they actually call it that, but that's how it feels, which is kind of like a toxic, you're on probation. Like I hate that term and that thought and that concept, but you have to figure out if it's a good fit for both parties. I get it. The bottom line is you're sometimes going to have to let people down in organizations, and they will be disappointed. They may be frustrated. They may have put a lot of time and energy into hiring you. But if it's not the right move for you, then you need to take the job. Like, you need to go to the place where it feels like a good fit. Because I guarantee you, a year from now, you're not going to look back and think, oh, I'm so glad I didn't take my dream job and just stayed where I am because it looks good on my resume. Like, if you're making any decision in your career based on how it looks on your resume, that's going to trip you up, because now you're letting a piece of paper dictate the future and your decisions. Now, I see the value of a resume. I help people with resume, and they're a tool. Your resume is not a career compass, and it does not have judgment on you. And it's okay to have gaps in your resume. Actually, I'm kind of loving on LinkedIn. There's been a lot of great posts about how we just need to ignore gaps on resumes because things happen. People lose their jobs. They have to take care of parents. I took a huge leave of time off work after my dad passed away. I just really wasn't functioning too well. I was doing a bit of freelance, but that's about it. I did not over-explain that to anybody, though. I sometimes will just say I took time off to help with family. Like, I don't over-explain anything, and you don't have to either. But you have to make a decision that feels right for you, and you have to put your needs first, because you will resent it if you don't go for it, if you just let it go. I've had people ask me, like, they feel so bad about quitting a job they just started that they're literally considering not taking their dream job or a better job that pays sometimes, like, one guy said it paid like 50% more than what he was making now, and he was like not sure whether to make the move. Now, if money was of no concern or of interest to this person, sure, it's not a deciding factor, but it definitely was. But felt so bad about saying, you know what, I'm quitting, and how that was going to look. But you can't worry about how it's going to look if you're presented with an amazing opportunity. What is in your best interest? What is going to make you happy? What is going to make you fulfilled? That's how you build a career that is something to be proud of and that will be fulfilling. But we are really told and trained in our society to do the right thing. And I absolutely believe in operating out of integrity. And no one, again, wants to be like, I'm just bailing. Like, I said yes, but now I'm bailing and I'm rescinding that offer. But it happens all the time. Like, I think that's what I really want to let people know is how common it is. I couldn't believe it. Like, I felt like every other person I was talking to was like, okay, so I'm going to take this job, but you know what? I don't actually really want this job. I just need the paycheck right now. And I'm still in an interview with like 3 other companies. And I'll be like, okay, let's come up with a strategy, because the truth is you don't know if those jobs are going to work out, like the, jobs B, C, and D. You have no idea. Sometimes you can wait it out and you have that time if you have a severance or, you have time, but often we don't. So make the decision that is best for you in the moment and always go back to what is in my best interest, because what is in your best interest is in your best interest for your family, everyone around you. There's going to be that spillover effect. You're going to be happier. It's going to affect your friendships. It's going to affect everything. And you don't want to stay in a job when you resent it, because if you go into a job and you're kind of resenting it for whatever reason, often I see like if someone's underpaid, that resentment never goes away. It just doesn't. It festers. So if you have to take something temporarily, I get it, but keep moving towards the goal that you want. Keep interviewing at other companies. Keep looking out for other opportunities. It is okay to do that. It is okay. Remember to be loyal to yourself, because that will lead you to a fulfilled career, and you get to put yourself first. Take care, guys. Thank you for joining me today on Ditch the Struggle. You showing up here means so, so much to me. To dig deeper into the topics discussed today and to learn about my work, visit alanarosa.com. And don't forget to download your free resources while you're there. And if this episode resonated with you, please share with others who also want to ditch the struggle. Go ahead and subscribe to the podcast, leave a rating and a review, and let me know what you'd like to see more of on this podcast. And before I go, I want to leave you with my 3 favorite ways to ditch the struggle. Be your own best advocate, take baby steps for the win, and forget about a linear career path. It's overrated and you are doing just fine. See you next time.